Today I want to explain about the necessity, the actual use of function in our day-to-day life while problem solving. So yesterday I have gone through a problem where it required me to use functions. The problem was I need to print next occurring prime number. That is, if I give my input as 21, which is non-prime number, my output should be next occurring prime number, that is 23. So for that I need to check whether given input is prime number or not. For that I wrote a code like this, where I am taking input from the user and using if statement, that is I am checking whether given input, that is n equal to 1 or n equal to 0. If 1 or 0, the output will be not a prime number. And next I am jumping on to for loop, where I took range from 2 to n plus 1 since prime number start from 2, and in the if condition I am checking factors of n, and if n percentile I equal to 0, that is from 2 to n plus 1, I am checking whether it is a divisible or not. If n percentile by I equal to 0, that is if I take n as 3 and 3 percentile by 2, that is I starting from the range 2, and n 3 percentile by 2 equal to 0, that is if condition becomes true, it prints it is not a prime number. Otherwise it execute else part, that is it prints it is a prime number. If I write something like this using else condition for if, what happens, let's see. I am entering input as a 6. See, it is printing, that is it is checking for every value in the given range of I, that is from 2 to 6. It is checking for 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, since the range stop at n minus 1 and n here is and 6 plus 6, and I am giving the range it is n plus 1, that is 7. So the range stops for 6. Instead of like this, what if I write break statement for the if condition and I write else for loop? Let's see. See, it is only printing or checking output for only given input. It is not checking for the every value in the range. And what is my objective? I need to print next occurring prime number. That is, if I give non-prime number in input, for that I need to increment n, and whether n is prime or not I need to check, and for every increment it should print if it reaches prime number. And if I write like this, I need to write for every increment of n to check it is prime or not. So instead of writing same code for several times, what if I use functions and call it n number of times and execute it for every value, that is every increment. Let's see. Now I write it in function. Now I wrote code something look like this, where I use the function. The first block of code checks whether the given input is prime or not, and the next function, that is next block of code, it increments the input and it checks for the every value, and I am calling is prime here, and I am calling not prime, that is this function, in the print statement. I took new value s and I am passing it in the print statement as the argument, and here the argument is keyword argument, where s is a key and the value here is int input, enter your input value, that is I am taking the input from the user, and we know we pass arguments in the function calling, and I am calling here this function in the print statement, and I am passing the s as a keyword argument. Now it goes to the function definition, and s here acting as a parameter. Now the next line is while not is prime, I am calling the prime is prime function, this function here, and calling it to check whether the given value, that is s, it is a prime or not. Since the condition is not prime, that is until unless the given input becomes the prime, the loop executes, and when the condition becomes a false, that is n is prime number, it prints, and in the next line I am increment the s value, and so when the condition becomes true, that is if n is a not prime number, then the next statement executes, that is the s value increments by 1, and again it will check whether it is a prime or not. And if I give here 21 as the input, first I am calling that function, first 21 goes here, that is in the s value, and the next line while not is prime, now s acting here as the argument to the parameter n. Now 21 goes here, and it will check for the 21 whether it is a prime number or not. If it is not a prime number, it comes here, the next line is s plus 1, now s increment by 2, and it is again goes here as a argument to the parameter n. Now n value is 22, and now again checking for the 22 whether it is a prime or not, and 22 is not a prime. Now increment line, that is s plus 1, s plus equal to 1. Now it becomes 23, and 23 goes here, and 23 is checked and it is given it is prime or not. Since 23 is a prime number and it is printing 23 as the output. If I write like this using print statements instead of return statements, let's see what happens. See, it is checking for the every value in the range of I. If I write, I don't want to print for every value, I just need to return it to the function. If it is not a prime number, I just need to return it to the function. I don't want to print it in the output. So for that, I just write return instead of the print statement. So instead of print statement, I just use the return function to return the results to the function. I don't want to print it in the output. And since 23 is a prime number, it return here output is written, that is 23 is returned to this function, and I call this function in the print statement. So 23 is printed in the output. Let us see what happens. See, 23 is my output, which is a prime number, and 21, 22 are not a prime numbers. Let us see what happens if I give a prime number as my input. Since 2 is a prime number, it is just printing 2 as my output. What is my objective? I need to print the next occurring prime number. But given input is a prime number, it is just printing it is a prime number. So writing something like this using the function, it reduced number of lines of code and it reduced the time. We call the function and we can use it for n number of times, which is where it saved my time. So I insist we should use the functions in a day-to-day life, which makes our life very easier. Thank you.